and the songs that were gifted to me, that were gifted to us by our Mushums and Kookums. I think that's what influences me most today. I think part of it is not only trying to honor those teachings, but also to remember them and this fear of losing it, of losing that connection. That's what motivates me is a bit of that fear, but also just honoring them and carrying forth those teachings, trying to figure out how we can not just honor them, but translate them and transfer them today. You know, how might we do that? What can we do differently? Because the youth, people learn differently than they did, 20, 30 years ago. So how do we deliver it and offer it, invite others to learn from it, to learn those songs and traditions in a way that resonates with them, in a way that they understand. Because the fear is, you lose some of it in translation. So honoring those traditional teachings influences me today for many different reasons, and those are a few.
For me, what's guiding me right now is ceremony and all that is attached to ceremony, and that's a lot of the teachings about respect, humility, kindness, like all of that, like everyday life, coming out here, learning about, teaching our young ones about the ribbon skirt, the teachings around the ribbon skirt, the meaning of ceremony, the meaning of having respect for the ribbon skirt at ceremony and the importance of that. And being around the elders and listening to the elders speak, to the young ones. The sweat lodge, doing the cleansing, offering our prayers, and getting that guidance. That's what brings me here.
Teachings that really guide me that I've received in the past are the 7 grandfather teachings. I find myself reflecting on them a lot when times are getting troubling or I need to reflect on relationships. I just find really focusing on honesty and love and bravery and humility to be very grounding and something that kind of circles me back into being true to myself and the way that I want to be in the world.
I think a lot of what we're doing today as young people is trying to reclaim or relearn some of these teachings from our elders. I think for me, I'm most interested in learning and teaching the young people about women's teachings and just some of those teachings that got lost in colonization, particularly around like women's roles in society and why we do things the way that we do them, and what does it mean when they say women are so powerful? What does that really mean? So I'm most interested, I think I would reframe the question in reclaiming those women's teachings for our young people.
I've been to other fires that Miskanawa has held, and my experience there and at other ceremonies where a fire is kept over time, it's looked after over time, is that the fire seems to build a kind of momentum over time. It seems to me that the fire seems to draw or attract what it needs to it. So that's going to be, at the very least, the commitment of the people who are going to keep putting wood on it. It seems to include the people who need to come and make their prayer ties and place their prayer or their request or their concern or their gratitude or whatever it is in the fire. When I come to a fire being kept like that, I know I will find community. Whether I previously know people are not. I know I will find sobriety and a kind of safety. And I know that I will feel welcome, comfortable, like I belong. And so that experience continues to like guide me in my life, right?
Being a white person that has adopted two Indigenous children, and not knowing anything about their history until they came to me when they were infants born, I was very new to the Indigenous culture. And so I'm like a sponge. And so we have literally taken everything and we use that in our lives. So we smudge, we go to sweats, we harvest sage, we follow the seven grandfather teachings. If I was to say one thing, it would be smudging daily for prayers.
I think a lot about when our elders speak about kinship and they speak about relationship. And when they talk about relationship, it's not only our relationship with each other, but it's our relationship with the land. It's our relationship with Mother Earth. It's relationship with our community. You know, the strengths of a community, the strength of people coming together is really what has the biggest impact. And so when I think about what we're focusing on and trying to do in efforts to move towards reconciliation and take care of our younger generations, I think a lot about those teachings of relationship and kinship and just taking care of each other and remembering that everything we do has an impact and that everything we do is reciprocal, and whenever we're taking, we need to be giving back. And so everything that we do, we always have that in our minds that if we're receiving something, we're going to give back in a good way. And I think that really guides our work, and it guides how we walk together and how we move forward to ensure that we're taking care of the people around us today, but we're also taking care of our elders and we're taking care of our children and the generations to come.
That sometimes it's best to just listen and not talk, so that when things start to happen, so let's say, I don't know, if your friends are in trouble, you just don't say anything, just listen, so you'll know what to say later on.
I think a teaching from Elder Patrick I like take on every day is I talked to him about always holding people's problems and weights on my shoulders, and he gave me a teaching where you just you listen to them and then you say thank you, and that kind of gives you a way of not carrying everyone's hurt and problems, is just a simple thank you. So now when my friends come with me to me with problems and stuff, I'll always say thank you for sharing, and that doesn't weigh on me. I use that teaching every day, and I try to teach to my students that, and all my friends, that is sometimes you can't carry people's weight, so you just have to say thank you and your hand to your heart.
I can't give all of myself unless I'm well. So taking care of myself at the end of the day, making sure that I feel a balance, that I feel grounded, that I feel good going home at the end of the day, even if it's not been a great day, even if I've heard some hard things, is now what can I do to make sure that I'm taking care of myself and I'm keeping myself healthy, because at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to teach our kids and our youth, is what can you do to better yourself? What can you do to create wellness and be healthy in your own life? And if us as staff are going in empty, we're not showing them that. So
the lesson that I'm trying to live by is that it's never too late to do anything. It's never too late to do something right. It's never too late to learn something about yourself. And that my mom growing up taught me that forget what anybody else thinks, because if you live your whole life entrenched in what does this person think of me, what do those people think of me, you're going to be miserable, and you can never satisfy everybody. You can never get the approval of everybody, you'll always be doing something wrong in someone's eyes. So you really need to work past that mental barrier of I can't because. If you want to do it, then that's motivation enough and that's reason enough to do it.
I'm learning how to bead from my grandma and my older sister. She taught me how to make some beadings, and I'm actually going to give them to the elders today. I've learned that you don't bead when you're frustrated, and that's really hard. Because I'll start it, and then I'm like, oh, well, dang it, I have to put this away now. So, but you do eventually get used to it, and you're like, okay, I got this, and then you just keep going. And yeah, it's really calming, and I love doing it.
Fortunately, I was able to learn a lot about animals, and I spent a lot of time in the bush by myself, mainly to escape a lot of the dysfunction that was happening in the home. But there was so much advantage to that because later on in life, that early experience created my ability to self-care.
My grandparents and my mushum and my granny, and how they kind of always talk about like trying to like live in balance, I guess. Trying to treat people in a good way and with respect, being kind.
A lot of my teachings in the cultural ways comes from Patrick and Patricia Daigneault, a blueberry, and he said like, why does the blueberry plant grow blueberries, and like why does the grass grow? Why do the trees grow leaves? And like they don't do those things for themselves. They do them. The blueberry plant grows blueberries so that the birds can eat blueberries, and then they can take the seeds somewhere else, and then more plants can grow. And so that sort of interrelationship of all things, Wahkotiwin. What do humans grow? What do humans grow? What are we doing? And it's different for every single person, but I think at the basis of it, it's just like love, and we can do it. We can do it well. That's like one of our human gifts is to love, and to love each other, and to love everything, and love yourself. And so then you look at yourself, and it's like, what do you do? Like, what's your thing? What's your gift that you have that you get to share with the rest of the world and with your family and friends and everything? And so use that as a guiding light for life.
It's really important for babies to have a traditional spiritual name because it really helps them. We have a ceremony for our babies and whatnot, and it helps them through. Then when they get older, it really helps them with their identity.
To be more humble. I like just kind of being behind the scenes of things these days, and that's a lot different from the life I led before coming to Miscanawa. Yeah, it's just more slow moving and peaceful and being humble, putting my best foot forward to try my best to be humble. Yeah.
We say all the time, like when we finish prayer and things like this, but all my relations, and it's just this idea of recognizing and honoring all those things and people, and you're related to everything in a way, right? And in all my relations, it makes you more like aware of the world around you, the strangers that you meet, even just nature, getting to know the plants by name, how they can help you, knowing the animals, the teachings that come with them, and it extends to everything, When you give, you receive, and by helping people and just doing what needs to be done, and somebody says, help me here, you go help, and eventually you have all these connections with everyone around you, in a way where you can go to an event or like our annual round dance, and you know half the people there, and you can have a good conversation with everyone you see, and you have some stories to share with each other. So for me, that teaching is always coming up, and I'm being reminded of it anytime I'm seeing something new. I'm already related to you.
You have woven street grass together, and a single strand is that not that strong on its own, but when you come together and like how we do, and we create a special bond, and I really find that here at Musqueam, even just when we look around, just all hands just come together so seamlessly, and that seems to be the theme at Musqueam is, just come together with unity. It's pretty special to see.